Hello guys and welcome to my channel. My name is Ogui, and on today's video I'm going to be teaching you how to modify a simple darted gown made by a beginner to a keyhole neckline. So this is not really a beginner's course, but it's something that would help you to make your outfit stand out by modifying your darting, modifying your pattern and all that. So remember that while making this pattern, I was saying that for someone that has a big stomach, you don't need to do the whole waist shaping thing. That's reduction of the waist shaping. So you just work with the old line that you had, and I only reduced it then because I wanted to teach you how to handle slim people's patterns or people that have a flat tummy. But this person apparently does not have a flat tummy, so we're going to remodify the pattern. So we're working from the old line and we're extending it so that the person's stomach doesn't get to look more bulgy than it is already. So we fill up that of the front and then we go over to the back and do exactly the same. So if you're new to this channel, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. So check the link in the description box to see the other video I created on how to draft this piece. So now after we're done marking this, we go over to doing the modification. So I want the keyhole neckline in front. I don't really want much of a modification at the back. And in the previous video I also told you that for you to make a simple darted gown, it takes exactly the same step as a simple darted blouse. So I didn't want to go through exactly the same process of making a simple darted blouse and just giving the same boring stuff. So I'm going to make an outfit with a keyhole neckline. So in case you're wondering what an outfit with a keyhole neckline is, this is it. Voila. So this is exactly what it looks like. So I'm going to use a different fabric for the upper part and I'm going to use another fabric for the lower part, and we're just going to modify this. I'm not going to cut the v-neck, I'm not going to cut the sweetheart neck. I'm just going to use a round neck for this because it works best for keyhole necklines really. So I'll just modify the neckline and start doing the cutting. So that's it. So first for the neckline, I had to come down by 3 to 3.5. I wasn't too comfortable with 4 inches, so eventually I had to reduce it to 3.5 because I wanted it to be a little bit high so that the one down can be a little bit lower. So you can just do just about whatever it is you want. The rule about necklines is draw half of the neckline. Draw what you see. What do you actually see? So for the second neck depth, I always prefer to use 7 because once it exceeds 7, especially for adults, 7.5, the cleavage usually shows. So I don't like exceeding 7 or 7.5. Now look at what we're going to do when we want to do a dart modification, like when we want to alter our dart. So every time you hear about dart alteration, dart modification, it simply means that whenever a line wants to cross our dart, we just close our darts, okay, so that we don't have a disjointed line by the end of the day. So I just had to close up my darts and extend the line to the place I wanted it to be. So like I said, you're watching this course as a beginner, but this is not your typical beginner's class work. It's not your typical beginner's project, but then nothing stops you from practicing it and trying out your hands on it even as a beginner. So do try it out and then let me know how it comes up. So for the center front, okay, so you can now see the shape. It's not coming out so clearly because I modeled up a lot of necklines there, so I'm just going to cut it out and I'm going to redraw it because I want you to see it a lot more clearly without all the plenty necklines I marked in there. So you've already closed your darts to mark the lines. So you still close your darts to blend everything before eventually opening up your darts if you eventually want to. But then I wouldn't open my darts for this. I'll close it permanently. So I had to label the 0.5 so that you know the areas we're adding sewing allowance. Now look, the part down that joins to the upper parts of the keyhole, you do not add 0.5 to it. I only added 0.5 to the cuff area because it's going to reduce in size. For some reason, I realized from my experience, my multiple experiences with keyhole necklines, that somehow it has a way of sagging when you add sewing allowance to the parts where you join the upper neck and then the lower neck. I just don't know why that happens. So I realized that when I do not add sewing allowance to the lower parts, that it doesn't sag, so I don't add. So I only add it to that curved area because it's not going to affect anything. It's just going to help me do the stitching all well. So I'm just going to cut off the round parts and add the sewing allowance to it. So of course you close your darts. It has to be permanently closed. I mean, there is no two ways about it. You're going to use your masking tape. So you're going to use your masking tape, or you can use your safety pin and pin it. Then you see that tiny little ear, pricking out. You just cut it off. You don't need it. So I always take time to label the parts of my outfit: shoulder, armhole, neckline, because I don't want a situation where I'm going to mix everything up and then turn it upside down. Maybe use the down part as the shoulder, because as you can see, now that we've closed the darts, it's already slanting. So sometimes you might think it's a shoulder. So I'll take it to a different fabric, a different pattern paper, because I told you I wanted you to see the actual process, okay? So I want you to see the actual process of making this blouse. So I had to take it to another pattern paper so that all my lines don't get muddled up. So I'm following exactly the same curve on this pattern. The only thing is that I'm making sure, you see this area, don't add any sewing allowance at all. But you see this curved area, we're going to add sewing allowance to it so that it doesn't reduce further in size after stitching. But this other side will be just fine, perfectly. So if you're not following us on Instagram, please follow us at Eric's Fashion and see all the beautiful work we and our students have been up to. This video is brought to you courtesy of Eric's Academy of Fashion. So we're going to cut this piece on a fold. I had to label the neckline, I had to label the KH, that's the keyhole, the shoulder, the armhole. I had to label the fold because I'm very particular about the fold. If you cut it and it's not on a fold, then you're going to mess up a lot of things and it just wouldn't look nice. You're going to change the whole shape, and I'm a huge fan of preserving your patterns. So next thing we're going to do is that we're going to cut out our gown. Like, we're going to cut out the remainder of whatever it is you have left. So we're cutting from down, we're following the slanted parts, and then we'll cut through to the upper parts. Just follow the lines. Our patterns do not require any form of adjustment. So however, if you have to make any adjustment at all, it's very little to none. Like, it's very minimal, if at all there is need for any adjustment. So you can send me a friend request on Facebook, Eberechi. Let's be friends on Facebook, let's connect. I share a lot of fashion business tips there in writing and all that. So if you've not watched our other videos, just look through them, watch them, practice. Let's get your feedback. So of course we'll cut the back neck, we'll cut the shoulder, we cut the armhole, we eliminate our zip shaping. So you can see that the steps are pretty much the same thing we had while working on our blouses. So even the cutting step. So what basically changed was our front panel, and of course that we had to um we had to kill the low waist shaping thing. So we eliminate the zip shaping stuff, the zip shaping and buttocks shaping excesses. Of course you already know this, the lower part, because I believe you've already watched the pencil skirt video. So the upper parts, I believe you've watched the blouse video. So you see all these things are connected. If you skip one, you miss the other one. So I'm going to cut this on fabric, I'm going to cut this on lining, and of course I'll cut my hairstay. Hairstay is not exactly beginner friendly. It's not like it's not beginner friendly. A beginner can actually use hairstay, but I'm just a huge fan of hairstay. If I'm not padding my outfit, I like to use hairstay for the blouse. So if I want to, now that I'm done cutting and hairstaying my fabric, I'll eliminate the darts on this outfit. You see the way we eliminated that on our blouse, that's how we eliminate the inner dart on this one. The upper dart, you already have close access to it from the up, so you just eliminate it. You see how tiny it is? It's extremely important. So now we're going to fold our pattern like so. When we fold it, we'll cut through. You see how I folded it? So when we fold through, we cut through so that it can give us access. It can give access to our scissors, and we will now cut through and transfer the darts to the fabric, transfer the darts to the lining, and transfer the dart everywhere you want to transfer the darts to. So if you're yet to subscribe to this channel, just click on the subscribe button and click on the bell button for notification in case we post any new videos. Our videos drop every 2 days by 5 p.m. okay? So don't forget to like this video and share. So after cutting out our dart, we're going to take a chalk and mark out the dart. You're no longer like a beginner that you don't know about how to mark out dart. I've already taught that in the blouse making session. So we're going to mark out the dart, and just the same way we stitched our dart for our blouses, we're also going to stitch our dart for this one, stitch that for the lining. So this is the upper part. So we stitch the round neck of the up, we notch it, we top stitch it. I've already taught that in blouse making. So the keyhole area, you still, after you notch and top stitch, you stitch the keyhole area, and you still notch the keyhole area and turn to